Welcome, believers. Welcome, conspiracy theorists. Welcome to the wonderfully weird world of UFO aliens and weird stuff. So today we are going to talk about the Grangemouth photo. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I will cover it. Right, but first I'd like you to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you can. Right, now apparently if you ding that like button, it helps my channel grow. So please like, subscribe and ding it if you can. That would be fantastic, all right? So we are going to continue with police sightings so we can fill up our map, okay? So this is number 38. We're on number 38 already and we're still in 67, right? Number 38, 10th of the 8th, 67 at like 1:45 in the morning. Location, Hindley, Wigan in Lancashire. Now, during the early hours, two uniformed police officers, a PC Lionel Hall and a PC Steve Parsonage, right, observed a round-shaped object in the sky that appeared to be travelling too fast to either be a comet or a plane. Now, PC Hall made a pocket notebook entry regarding the sighting. The officers observed the object for 2 minutes and dismissed any notion that it could have been a trick of light. Their boss, Chief Superintendent Tom Andrews of Wigan Police, confirmed the officer's report of the sighting, right? And this is UFO classification, nocturnal light, on-duty sighting, 2 officers, and the source of this story is the Daily Mirror, right? 16th of the 8th, 67. Now, the next one, number 39, is right on the south coast again. Now, this is location Gosport, Hampshire, on the coast again. Right, now there is a rumour that a lot of UFOs have underwater bases. And if you notice on our map, we get a lot of coastal sightings, don't we? I don't know if that's connected. I don't know. You can make the decision, right? Now, these 2 uniformed officers, a PC Edna Welk and a PC Tony Cornell, observed a red and white coloured UFO whilst on a mobile patrol in Little Anglesey, right, in the area of Gosport. The UFO was seen above the HMS Dolphin submarine base. And I think that's really important, right? Because we know military bases get buzzed by UFOs, don't they? Now, they got out of their vehicle to watch the object, which they observed for 5 minutes before it moved out of sight. That's it. Nice, short, but sweet. Okay, now that's UFO classification, nocturnal light, on-duty sight, and 2 officers. And the source of this story is from the Southampton UFO group, all right? So the next one, number 40, evening the 21st to the 10th, 1967. Location, South Shields, South Tyneside, there. Following a report by a member of the public, a uniformed police officer visited the family and witnessed with them the sighting of 3 triangular-shaped UFOs in the sky above Tyne Dock, South Shields. Now, the object appeared to fly in formation before and then stopping briefly to hover. Now, the object headed off in the direction of Newcastle. The object was extremely bright to look at and was seen for a duration of 30 minutes. Right, so 3 triangular UFOs were seen for 30 minutes. Now, that's UFO classification, nocturnal light, on-duty sight, and 1 officer. All right, 3 triangular UFOs seen by what? The public and the officer. So the next one, now you notice, right, the next one, number 41, 24th of the 10th, 1967, on the A3072 between Oakhampton and Holsworthy, Devon. Now, 2 on-duty uniformed police officers, a PC Clifford Waycott and a PC Roger Wiley, had spotted a pulsating flying cross. Now, this flying cross is cropped up loads of times, all right? Massive sighting in 67 with this cross, and we keep coming across more and more sightings as we tell the story. Right, so this has got to be a bona fide UFO wave, right? Now, they spotted a pulsating flying cross while driving between the above location. It was seen at low altitude, moving above the treetops as the surrounding countryside. Now, in those days, it was extremely countrified. In fact, it still is even today. Now, intrigued, they began to chase the UFO. However, they were never able to significantly gain on it. At times, the object slowed to 50 miles an hour and at one point came to a stop in midair. Now, the pursuit involved speeds of up to 90 miles an hour and covered a distance of 14 miles. Now, whenever they did gain a little ground on the object, it would simply accelerate away. Looks to me like it was playing cat and mouse, right? Eventually, they reduced their speed, fearing an accident themselves. The closest distance they reached the UFO was 400 yards, and at one point they stopped to a farm to wake up the owner so they could gain some corroboration that they were not mistaken in their sighting. I get that. You would doubt yourself, right? At a later press conference, PC Wycott said the light wasn't piercing, but it was very bright. And he described it as star-spangled. He said, just like looking through wet glass. And although we reached 90 miles per hour, it accelerated away from us. Now, he carried on, before the object disappeared from view, they saw a second UFO that was also cross-shaped, very bright and made no noises. Both officers were impressed by the relevant speed of the object as they quickly departed. Now, especially the first one. Inquiries at nearby RAF Chivanor proved negative, right? Within 48 hours, numerous other witnesses began to report sightings of a similar object. A fiery cross was witnessed above the skies of Glossop, Derbyshire, by 6 police officers. So in total, this sighting alone, we've got 8 officers seeing the same thing. Right, now that's UFO classification, close encounter first kind. On duty sighting, 2 officers, and the source of this story is UFO Flying Saucers Over Britain by Robert Chapman. And that's Mayflower Books, published 1969, between pages 13 and 15. All right, so number 42, again, exactly the same area, right? 5 o'clock in the morning on the 25th of the 10th, 67. Location, Oakhampton, Devon. 2 uniformed officers in a patrol car again observed a fiery crossed UFO above the town. Now, one of the officers was a police photographer. One of the police officers was a photographer, but he did not have any time to get a picture of the object, as the duration of the sighting amounted to only a few seconds. But that is enough, isn't it? Right, so 2 police officers, the 25th of the 10th, 67, same area, Oakhampton, right, saw a star-spangled UFO for a couple of seconds, right? And the classification for this is nocturnal light, on-duty sighting, 2 officers, all right? But we're still in the same area, right? Number 43. 2 o'clock in the morning on the 26th of the 10th, 67. Location, Oakhampton, Devon again. Only 2 days after his involvement in the famous high-speed police UFO chase, the same officer, a piece of Roger Wiley, observed a similar star-shaped UFO in the skies above Oakhampton. It was seen to drop down low as if to land in the area it was originally seen in. Now, the sighting was very brief, again, like the other one, only lasted a couple of seconds. Right, so that was UFO classification, nocturnal light, on-duty sighting, 1 officer. All right, and they're both there. All right, so Oakhampton was having a bit of a buzz at the time, wasn't it? Right, and that's why we're doing the map, so we can see a pattern forming. You know, Oakhampton was very, very busy. Right, and the last one, the last police sighting we'll do today, right, is number 44. Okay, and that's in Buckup in Lancashire. An on-duty uniformed police officer, a PC Brian Earnshaw. This is an interesting one, right, because it's not star-spangled, but it is cigar-shaped, right? Heard a crackling sound coming over the station's shortwave radio. Now, curious, he went outside to see what might be causing the interference. And when he did so, he looked up to see a cigar-shaped UFO hovering 250 feet above the station. He said it was approximately 50 feet in length. There were portholes on the side, but there were no visible signs of propulsion. Now, if you remember, we talked about the Westminster Thing. A very similar ship was also seen there as well. Now, the ship appeared to be metallic and gave off a bright glow. There was a low whining sound coming from it. Two other uniformed officers, a PC Colin Donahue and a Malcolm Reader, also saw the same object from a different location in Lancashire. Now, watching for several minutes before it rose vertically into the sky and disappeared. So we have now got, 3 officers seeing it? Later, a statement was issued by Lancashire Police that read, "We have had UFO reports before, but nothing like this. There has been no reasonable explanation, but it was something definitely seen." All right, that's UFO classification, close encounter of the first kind, on duty site, and 3 officers saw that one. All right, so there you go. Right, so we're adding to the map. That is our, 6 or 7 bona fide police sightings around at the time. So if we go to our main story now, well, it's not our main story, but I want to cover it, right? It's called the Grangemouth electrical UFO UFO photo, right? And it says, right, it's taken from Strange Phenomenal Investigations by a bloke called Malcolm Robinson. Now, he goes on to say, amazing UFO photos taken from an article called UFO in Scotland from Malcolm Robinson, Strange Phenomenal Investigation. Right? He says UFO testimony is one thing, but when you receive testimony backed up with quite spectacular UFO photograph, well, that's another matter. We at SPI received quite an amazing UFO photograph, which was unlike anything we have ever seen before. So he's quite freaked out by this, and there it is. There's the photo. I'll put it there. Right? It is quite it's quite spectacular, isn't it? Right? Now, it was on the 12th of November 1991 at around 9:30 p.m. And the reason I'm covering this is because it's in the Falkirk Triangle. All right, it's actually in the Falkirk Triangle. Right now, friend Phil Travis and Paul Penman, were out taking photographs for a project called Light and Dark. Now, the following is the written testimony by Phil Travis, or Travis as he is given to at SPI. Right, he says, "My friend and I were taking photographs at the BP chemical plant in Grangemouth." Right, and he says he was taking it from the Paulmont Reservoir, right, where we noticed a dim, or rather 2 small dim flashing lights over by the 2 flashing pylons at the Kincardine Bridge. Right, we watched the object, which we thought was a helicopter, fly slowly from the bridge to above the brightly lit Grangemouth Stadium. Now, we watched it hover for around 5 minutes. It was then that we noticed that the craft, we'll call it, wasn't making any noise. Now, normally, if it were a helicopter, we would have heard the blades. It then turned around and faced our direction. So, obviously, this is getting a bit weird, isn't it? Now, it was roughly 2,000 feet above the ground. Then it dipped and increased dramatically in speed. Now, they carry on. At that point of the photograph you see there, it was 200 to 300 feet directly above us. It was then that we heard the light pulsating hum of the object. My friend and I were quite shaken at the time, but afterwards had an overwhelming sense of excitement. And I'll get that, I do understand that, right? Now, SPI conducted the usual lines of investigative inquiry to try and get to the bottom of the incident. That's their job, isn't it, right? Now, they go on to say, we ascertained that there was no aircraft activity in that part of central Scotland that night, right? Now, they sent letters to the British Petroleum plant at Grangemouth, asking them if they had any small light aircraft or microlights in operation above their complex that night. Okay, now they came back stating that no such light aircraft or microlights were flying above the plant that night. And more importantly, the BP plant at Grangemouth is a controlled airspace. Only special authorization can be given for overflights of this highly explosive complex, what gives great credence to that photo, because you can't just fly over it, right? Indeed, such was the closeness of the object, Phil carried on saying, that he had to bend over backwards to take his photo. And so what you are actually looking at is the underside of the object, concave, with numerous bright flashing lights being flown out into the dark night sky, which creates a sort of halo effect. Now, the object is consistent with what was being sighted above and around the small town of Bonnybridge in Stirlingshire, right? Central Scotland. The town of Bonnybridge is still experiencing UFO sightings, but not as many of those that were peaked between the years of 92 and 94. Now, we carry on. We've examined on several occasions how active Scotland is in terms of UFO activity. Right? For example, the area and around Bonnybridge would experience a particular active period between 92 and 94, only a year after the Grangemouth sighting. And we will get to covering all of those, right? What's more, another very similar sighting would occur over the Grangemouth oil refinery in 94. Right? On that occasion, an entire unit of cleaners from the facility would witness the strange lights overhead. They explained them as glowing orbs that will dance around the sky for several moments. Now, bearing in mind, we've already discussed that BP facility has you're not allowed to fly over it. So what were those dancing orbs? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Okay, well, look, this was UFO, aliens and weird stuff. I appreciate you sticking around, right? Please like, subscribe and ding that notification bell if you want. Now, there is another incident I want to talk about next week. It's the Fife incident. And again, it is virtually not far away, right, from the Falkirk Triangle, right? It's just up above, right, on the Highlands. I'll put a photo there. That's what we're going to be discussing next week. But please, like, subscribe and ding that notification bell, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.